Check out the description for all our wonderful sponsors and partners, Odin Apparel, where you can buy our merch, and you can also go and buy some really good books from Grendel Press. Have a great adventure in medieval times. Hey.
William Marshall. I stand before the beautiful lady. I am as naked as the day I was born, as I have just transformed back from my werewolf form. The wolf soul, Fenrir, who joins me in this change, is standing next to me, looking at the woman as I am. Strangely, she can see him, and has already acknowledged him by name. Most cannot see him, or know who he is. My mental mind stirs its ire at this. There also seems to be a small cat peeking out from behind the woman's ankles and keeping little green evil eyes upon the wolf. I know, a strange detail, but it's a strange detail worth noting. It has been a strange few hours, it has, to be honest. I have been executed a few times, and not died. Look to other recent episodes to find out more, if you wish. The most recent of these methods of killing me was the use of a siege engine to fling me over the castle walls and onto the cobbles of its courtyard. I had gone splat at least a couple of times, yet here I stood, facing the woman and her cat. The woman is, well, according to Fenrir, the woman is
The devil.
of all things. I know I didn't realize that the devil would look like such, but as is the devil's way, they are known for trickiness and deception. She pouts as though she heard the unkindness that I stated in my head. Maybe she can hear my thoughts. She now smiles and smirks, showing nothing but supreme confidence. I have tried to send her away and back to hell by objurgating her, but I think this was just a little embarrassing for her as I attempted it. Well, I think the embarrassment was perhaps for me, not her. Maybe a kind thought from the devil, if that's possible. I shake my head. No, the devil cannot be kind. Can she? She had congratulated me on my efforts, but nothing had happened to her when I had tried to banish her. She looked away and laughed. A beautiful sound it was. So beautiful. She could hear my thoughts. Lucy turned to me and nodded and shrugged.
Sorry, there's nothing I can do about listening, to be honest, and strangely, I am mostly honest.
The vision of loveliness said. Again, I shook my head to dispel the notion that she was the most beautiful, incredible creature that I had ever seen. No, I must not think this. She was Satan.
Thank you for the compliment. And yes, I am.
I'm afraid she has legitimate business here, William, so she cannot be sent from this realm until that business is complete.
Fenrir told me in that telepathic manner that he has. He must have been listening to my private thoughts, but that is his right, and I have nothing to hide from him. He is my savior and my friend. Most of the time, anyway. This time, well, apparently this Lucy Fur is the savior of me in this moment. I have been saved by Satan. Again, those pools of cool water tempt my gaze, those eyes of azure blue. No, emerald green, cold darkness. They tempt me, they do, to fall into them, to fall and to drown. She broke the eye contact to save me from my thoughts, but perhaps her own thoughts. That must mean I am damned, must it not? Her saving me in this manner. That must be it. I must be damned. My heart lurched. I had not asked for this particular savior. According to her, it is not my soul she wants. Someone else had paid the price. Someone I love as a brother has forsaken his soul so that I may live. I couldn't be having that, could I? I needed to change that. But how?
Can you put something on, please? I mean, it's not polite to speak with everything down there doing that dangling thing,
said Lucy. Fur. You will not take Gervais' soul, I told her. There was a moment of anger on that beautiful face.
Sorry, but the deal's done. I own his soul now, and I'll take it for the work that I've done. Don't you see how this shit works?
She turned and swept away, leaving a beguiling scent in the air, and raised her hands. I could hear a taint of anger in that perfect voice. It seemed ugly, if just for a moment.
It's all the same with you people. You expect a devil's service without any cost. I worked damn hard to save you today. A little soul isn't a big ask, is it?
She turned back to meet my gaze, a look of hurt in her face.
They are by no way my victims. They're customers. I'm a service provider.
She spoke in a way I did not really understand.
Goodness sake, you want to be the greatest Tiddlywinks champion? You want to be the king of the world? You want your poop to be pure gold?
I want none of those things, I blurted, angrily. And anyway, what is Tiddlywinks?
Never mind the things they are. You didn't allow me to make my point.
She gasped.
People ask for things, and I provide them. And they then try and weasel out of the being damned forever. It makes for little work satisfaction, you know. I'm not a people person, and I'm working in the customer service industry. It's not my thing. I should be in heaven waving a big fiery sword. I want to be the greatest guitarist that has ever lived. Then you try and get out of the deal. Makes me angry. It's attempted theft, you know?
She finally seemed to have said everything she needed to, but I allowed a long period of quiet in case she had a second wind.
No sympathy for the devil. Well, not for a few centuries in the Rolling Stones. They understand the cost of asking me for a gift, and I will get them eventually. Although they managed to extend their lives through necromancy. Keith Sneaky Person Richards.
Rolling Stones? What's a guitar? That's when I saw the burning reality behind that perfect image. I will never speak of what I saw. But I knew her for the truth. It was only a moment, but it was a peek into reality. Yes, reality. The devil was real. She was what she confessed, and the cat, well, that was no cat. It wasn't a cat. Strangely, I felt no fear. Why would that be after seeing what they were? No fear. I was not even being brave. Bravery was not required here.
William!
Llywelyn, my squire, was running towards me from the keep. He got to us and stopped, bending and holding his hands on his knees while he tried to get his breath back. He'd been running quite hard, so he had. "What is it?" I asked him. It was uncomfortable waiting for him to be able to talk. You know, those difficult silences that you want to fill, but you have no idea what to say. Eventually, the young man stood up straight, wiped his forehead, and caught his breath.
You have to come with me. It's Percy and Gervais, William. There's something very wrong.
It was at this point that he looked me up and down and noticed my not clothedness.
Why are you... Why... Oh, just never mind.
He said, grabbing my hand and trying to set off at a run back towards the gate. He took a couple of steps before having to ask the woman in front of him to excuse him because she was in his way. She moved, but he did not try to move on. He stopped dead and let go of my hand. He just stood and stared at the woman. I think the term is gawping. It's how his mouth hung open as he stared at the woman. I walked up beside him and closed that gawping gob with my hand by slowly moving his hanging lower jaw to the one above, which he then opened again as he said,
But, Mum, you're dead.
Eh?
"Eh?" I would need to have a chat with this young man after all this. "Mum," he says. "I am sure that in the future some clever dick will create a whole way in which people's minds work when they think like Welly." "Ugh,"
Freud.
said Satan. "Eh?" I said again, before turning to Welly. "She's not your mother. She's not your mother. She's a very naughty woman," I told him. The devil laughed at this statement in good humour.
Not really. Just trying to do my job. Naughty and nasty are constructs, much like good and evil. All depends on context. Nietzsche had probably the best ideas and critiques. None of that Augustian nonsense.
All three of us were staring at her now with looks of deep confusion.
Oh, never mind.
She sighed and waved us on.
Continue with what this is, whatever that is.
She smiled. Welly gulped and managed to resolutely turn his face from her, just having one look back at her before again.
You have to come, it's Percy and Gervais.
He gave me a brief glance, then looked at her again before returning his gaze to me. I could see by those wet eyes that he was terrified. So the devil must wait. I needed to talk to Gervais anyway. I stood at the door of my lord's chapel. The air was heavy with the scent of wine, bitterness, and resentment. It was palpable, it was. On the way to the chapel, I had managed to get something to cover my bits with. It was a horse blanket, so it was a little rough on the skin, but that was the least of my worries at that moment. Welly pointed at the pew in front of the chapel. It was a request for me to look at what was, in his opinion, a problem. I looked at the wolf soul and invited him with a nod of the head to join me in wandering down the aisle.
It's on you, that.
He said, as he sat by the boy. "Thanks." I returned to his head as a thought, sarcastically. I got to the pew And so, I saw my two favorite people in a state of drunkenness I had never seen before. And I'd been at the May dance last year in Rouen, and, well, I tell you, wait a minute, no. Enough of the dance. Now is not the time. Percy's head lolled towards me. His shoulder supported his chinless head.
Ah, it is William, the man of the hour,
He said out loud.
and for some reason, he's wearing a skirt.
He continued, bursting into laughter. Gervais was lying face down in a puddle of his own vomit. Now this I had seen before, more often than I should be comfortable with, to be honest with you. But getting Gervais to stop drinking would be like damning him to hell, which I suppose he'd already done himself. He flopped around on the floor like a landed trout until he somehow got to his back and tried unsuccessfully to sit up a few times, falling back into unbroken guffaws.
Lucifer. I stood in the courtyard. This was the tricky bit. This was the part that wasn't nice. I had to take my payment. I was due it. My little cat was sitting at my feet and looking at me with a hard stare. Yes, I know. Give them some time, I told her. At least I could be magnanimous as the regent of hell, could I not? This was more than me taking a fool's soul who had sold it for something for themselves. This was the sacrifice of a friend. That word again, sacrifice. It stung as it rumbled through my thoughts. I realized why taking this particular soul struck me emotionally. It was, Satan was jealous, the green-eyed monster. Envy walked through my mind. Someone cared enough for William to give their essence, their everything to save him. This was not just giving your life. This was... A tear left my eye where it sizzled into a grain of salt on my cheek. The cat demon was listening to my thoughts and tried to comfort me. I would give mine, boss, she told me. I thank you, I told her. But as my creation, you were made to be what you are, and thus you would not have the free will to choose to do so, to be honest. Also, you don't have a soul, little demon. It's one of the things I like most about you. You would give your soul if you had one, because you're made to serve me in any way. Gervais, however, has given his soul out of free will and love. I was exasperated at his foolishness. My dear little demon, you have neither soul nor the freedom to choose, but I thank you. I really do. I smiled and bent to tickle her between the ears, and it gave me some comfort as she purred in response. I squatted alongside the cat. I'll never know that friendship. I'll never know what the pure love of another will feel like. All those who love me are bargaining for their personal gain, and that love is based on that need. Gervais has bargained for another's gain at the ultimate cost to himself. There's phenomenal beauty in that. I stood and looked at my arm where my watch should be. It wasn't. The 12th century was watchless. Right, it's time, I told the cat as I scooped her from the floor and, clicking my fingers, disappeared.
William Marshall. We had managed to get the flapping Gervais to his feet and onto the pew in some sort of sitting position. Percy was sitting and giggling to himself as he stared at a half-full bottle of wine. I sat and stared at the cross before me. It was the first time that symbol created bitter thoughts in my mind. I know that Christ had sacrificed himself for us, but he was the Son of God. The crucifix had been a thing of gratitude. Gratitude for the Son of God, giving himself. Gervais was a bastard as far as I knew. He had never known his father, who was some local lordling or lord or other scum of nobility. The only thing that his father had done was make sure that his mother was not forgotten and that she had some money to raise a little bastard. He could not be the sacrifice now. A terrible thought passed my mind, that he was not worthy of this. He was not worthy of sacrificing himself. How dare he compare his action to that of Christ? As soon as I thought it, I cast the idea out of my mind. It was not worthy. Not worthy of me thinking that way, was it? Why, Gervais? I asked him. He was sitting next to me now. His eyes were closed, but he was not in his slumbers.
What can I tell you, Willem? I was offered your soul and life for mine, and on balance, yours are of better value for the world than my own.
He said, and belched that raised giggles from Percy and Gervais. In this moment of silliness, I was unable not to join them, my brothers, even in this dark hour of my despair. But why, Gervais? I asked again. I did not want to hear his answer. He just shrugged.
Just because? Did you meet her?
He asked. I laughed. Yes, I most certainly did, I told him. His head wobbled around to my gaze. He smiled, and he shrugged.
You know me. Never once has disappointed a beautiful woman. You know, all that chivalry and bollocks that you attest to.
Again he belched and smiled a knowing smile, giving me a wink that had a lecherous tone to it. But she's the devil, I said, my voice cracking.
Ah, yes, that is a problem that I always have had. I always fall for the wicked ones. Family trait, methinks.
I turned my head to the stained glass of a window that was bright with the light shining through the image of an angel in flight. I scrambled my hand across to his, and I held it. Percy saw this, and he held Gervais' other hand. There's nothing I can do, Gervais? I asked.
I think not. Just be the best man as you always are, and hold this moment in your heart and realize what the world thinks of you. Not just I. All who will meet you now will see your greatness, your goodness, and as whatever happens to my soul happens. No one will be able to take that from my thoughts. That in times of the most evil, the greatest good can rise. And whatever the tortures that I suffer, I will smile and remember the moments with my two real brothers. As long as hell has wine, I won't whine too hard.
Suddenly, Lucifer was standing before us. We all looked up at her, doing the gawping thing that Wary had done before.
Speak of the devil,
said Percy, which actually made us burst with mirth like little children in the strictest of schoolrooms. It was most uncomfortable, it was. Gervais wobbled to his feet, as did Percy and I. He let go of Percy's hand and gathered him into one of his bear-like hugs. I heard the wind knocked from Percy's body, and then a sigh, and tears from the foppish man. Tears in the chapel. I turned to look at the woman. Tears now rolling from her eyes. From her eyes. The devil. She cried at this moment. This moment of her success. That next second, Gervais tackled me, and we held each other as only chosen brothers could. This was pain. No physical injury could be compared with the pain of this moment. The pain this moment was causing in my heart. Nothing more was said. He nodded at each of us, and we nodded back at him before dropping our heads and weeping.
Well, my lady, I am ready.
The lady was in obvious distress, but wiping the tears from her eyes, she placed the cat on the table that held the crucifix. It was funny to see the little creature staring at the powerful icon of faith. It seemed somehow unperturbed by it.
I'm sorry for this day's work. You're not the only damned one, Gervais. I am the utmost of all the damned having to do this.
She raised her hand. She stared hard at her fingers that were set to be clicked. And for a moment she paused.
Please,
said Gervais.
a deal is a deal.
She tried to move her hand, but two glowing hands extended from the angel in the window. A radiant and beautiful man swiftly joined the hands and the arms. He had the mighty wings of a giant swan upon his back, and a halo glowed atop his brow. He held her shuddering shoulders as she cried, and he stopped her from completing the task. He turned her towards him and enveloped her in his arms, and then his mighty wings. The angel held her in what could only be described as a loving embrace.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Broke into my mind from Fenrir, my wolf soul.
Just what we need. Bloody Gabriel.
He continued.
I am afraid his soul is not for yours to take.
The angel told the crying woman.
There is nothing more devout and Christian that a being can offer than their soul for that of another, as you should know, little devil.
He told the devil before releasing her. She wiped her eyes and looked up at the giant of a man. The warmest smile played upon her lips.
I'm glad.
She told him, and then slapped the angel across the face. Gabriel looked stunned.
In future, don't wait so long to stop me. Why do you have to make it always so damn dramatic? Leaving it to the last minute wasn't a nice thing to do, you big glowy seagull,
she said, before grabbing him in a huge hug once more.